Jung's most unsettling revelation wasn't about controlling rage. It was about individuals who remain perpetually unruffled and why this resilience renders them mentally invincible. In his therapeutic work, Jung recorded cases of patients exhibiting what he termed emotional imperviousness. These people stayed utterly composed under insults, undisturbed by disapproval, and impervious to efforts aimed at riling them up. They avoided personalizing issues, shunned defensive postures, and appeared resistant to the psychological hooks that ensnared most others. Jung labeled this finding alarming because these folks weren't repressing feelings or cultivating aloofness. They had experienced a distinct mental metamorphosis that rendered others' conduct inconsequential to their internal equilibrium, granting them an almost ethereal degree of psychological liberation. Hey everyone, welcome back to Stoic Philosophy, your go-to channel for timeless wisdom that builds unbreakable mental fortitude. If you're tired of letting others dictate your mood and ready to unlock the Stoic secrets to true inner peace, hit that subscribe button now and join our community of resilient thinkers. Turn on notifications so you never miss a video that could transform your life. Today, we're diving deep into Jung's most alarming insight about those who stay perpetually calm and the mental mechanism he thought could render anyone utterly indifferent to others' behaviors. The incident that unveiled Jung's most troubling revelation started with a patient he noted in his confidential records. A prosperous entrepreneur who sought him out in 1919, not due to personal distress, but because his total absence of emotional response was unsettling those around him. This industrialist, whom we'll name Heinrich, had forged a steel conglomerate in post-war Germany. Yet his staff feared him intensely, not for brutality or aggression, but because no provocation could ignite his ire. Offenses slid off him effortlessly. Reproach sparked his intrigue, not his guard. Treachery fascinated him instead of wounding him. His spouse escorted him to Jung, convinced of some abnormality. "Doctor," she confided, "my husband remains unperturbed by everything. Just yesterday, I confessed to a 6-month infidelity." He posed 3 inquiries. Was I content? Did I require his support? And did I wish to sustain our union or dissolve it? But here's the breakthrough Jung uncovered that altered the paradigm. Heinrich wasn't emotionally desensitized. He wasn't bottling up sentiments. He had merely mastered viewing his provocations as reflections, illuminating facets of his psyche he hadn't fully grasped. Jung dubbed this the shadow reflection phenomenon. Every individual who incenses you is unveiling something regarding your subconscious self. The impolite colleague who rejects your suggestions, they're echoing your dread of inadequacy. The acquaintance who's chronically tardy, they're highlighting your craving for dominance. The relative who condemns your decisions, they're exposing your internal insecurities. Heinrich had perfected this concept following a ruinous corporate deceit 3 years prior. His most trusted associate had pilfered his largest account and almost obliterated his enterprise. Rather than pursuing vengeance, Heinrich posed a single query to himself: what element of my being is this individual mirroring? The revelation stunned him. His associate's avarice reflected Heinrich's buried terror of destitution. His associate's deceitfulness echoed Heinrich's habit of concealing authentic emotions. His associate's disloyalty revealed Heinrich's own potential for self-centeredness. By confronting these obscured elements rather than displacing them onto others, Heinrich attained what Jung termed mental resilience. He could perceive others' actions as revelations about them, not assaults on him. Jung chronicled this method in what he named the shadow assimilation framework. When somebody provokes you, rather than responding impulsively, you pose 3 queries. What characteristic in this person am I condemning most severely? In what ways do I display this identical characteristic, even subtly? What lesson is this provocation imparting about my own psyche? Let me illustrate this in practice. Sarah, a promotions director, felt repeatedly agitated by her co-worker Tom's disruptions in discussions. Applying Jung's approach, she introspected. What am I critiquing in Tom? His craving for spotlight. Where do I mirror this? She acknowledged that she frequently monopolized talks when insecure. What insight is this providing? That my resentment toward Tom stems from irritation with my own spotlight-seeking tendencies. Once Sarah embraced this concealed facet, Tom's interjections ceased to irritate her. She could view them as his vulnerabilities, not threats to her value. That's the potency of the shadow reflection. It converts irritants into mentors. But Jung's investigations uncovered something even more disconcerting. Those who attained emotional imperviousness had accessed a mental realm that most people never reach, the interval between incitement and reaction. Heinrich described this interval to Jung. "Doctor, when somebody offends me, I encounter something peculiar. Time appears to decelerate. I observe their statements approaching, but instead of impacting me, they linger suspended. In that instant, I possess an option. Do I seize these statements and claim them, or permit them to glide past?" Jung recognized that Heinrich had discovered what he called the response interval, a mental zone where deliberate selection supplants instinctive reflex. Most individuals perceive provocation and retort as a seamless occurrence, but those with emotional imperviousness had trained themselves to insert mindful awareness between the provocation and their retort. This insight challenged prevailing psychological doctrines about humanity. We presumed fury was instinctive, that incitements unavoidably prompted reactions. Yet Jung's subjects demonstrated that with proper cultivation, anyone could tap into this interval and select their retort. The technique Jung developed, the observer protocol, is simple yet profound. When triggered, pause, breathe, and observe the trigger like a movie. Notice the other person's words, body language, and your own reaction without merging with it. Jung's patients, like Maria, a teacher, use this to stay calm under criticism, seeing it as her principal's stress, not a personal attack. The key: you are not your emotions, you're the awareness observing them. Jung also found these individuals built mental boundary fortresses. Heinrich explained, "Others can only disturb me if I allow it." He used a relevance filter, only absorbing what served his growth, and an ownership boundary, separating his emotions from others. This made him a magnet for those lacking such boundaries, as his calm challenged their chaos. Jung's most striking discovery was projection reversal. Heinrich saw attacks, like a rival calling him heartless, as reflections of the attacker's fears, financial insecurity, or guilt. This psychological X-ray vision turned criticism into insight about others, not himself, fostering compassion over anger. Finally, Jung uncovered emotional alchemy, transforming triggers into growth. Heinrich saw difficult people as teachers exposing his weaknesses, like fear of poverty, which he turned into strengths through self-awareness. This made him nearly impossible to manipulate, but Jung warned it could lead to isolation if empathy waned. The ultimate stage, compassionate immunity, balances strength with humanity. Heinrich used his calm to support others, redirecting their anger into solutions and their pain into understanding. Jung noted, he loves others' humanity while staying untouchable by their chaos. This is true mental mastery, feeling deeply but controlled by nothing. Your journey to emotional resilience starts now. Every trigger is a teacher, every challenge a chance to grow. Jung's tools: shadow reflection, response interval, boundary fortresses, projection reversal, and emotional alchemy. Unlock your potential to stay unbothered. Heinrich's final wisdom: true strength is engaging others without being changed by them. Thanks for tuning into Stoic Philosophy. If this sparked your path to mental invincibility, smash that like button, share your biggest insight below, and subscribe to join our Stoic tribe. Hit the bell to stay updated with wisdom that empowers you to master life. Stay stoic, and we'll see you in the next video.